Hey everyone, and welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday and sometimes Fridays. My name is Annabelle, and I am your Wednesday Mini Tech Scroll host, and also the deputy editor of the youth digital media brand Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Tech Scroll, everyone. I hope you guys have had a nice first half to your week. I don't really have too much to say at the top of this week's episode, apart from the fact that Trisha Paytas revealed the name of baby number 3, Aquaman. I'm sure Lauren will be discussing more about that tomorrow, which I am excited to hear about. But yes, apart from that, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. And if you want to support Centennial in other ways, feel free to check out the Buy Me a Coffee link in the description if you are so inclined. Last week we started with a Roblox story, and this week I have another one. Roblox CEO and founder David Baszucki wants to make the platform a place for dating. On July 9th, David's interview with the Tech Stuff podcast was published. In the episode, David discussed Roblox's popularity, how they ensure safety, among a variety of other topics. During the conversation, though, the interviewer noted how David has historically described Roblox as a, quote, wellness platform. He then asked David to clarify what this means to him. So the Roblox CEO then went on to reference the loneliness epidemic, noting how the gaming platform can help children and users find friendships online. He then went on to mention dating. I will insert the quote for you now from the podcast, but if you want to listen to the podcast, it is also linked in the description, and this quote was around 32 minutes into the episode.
You've described Roblox as a wellness platform, even more so than it is a gaming platform. What do you mean by Roblox as a wellness platform?
Young people who've gotten disconnected at school, young people going through a mental health crisis, young people who are going through something, finding people on Roblox to connect with. I mean, it sounds gratuitous for me to say it, but parents saying, like, my kid is alive because they found people on Roblox. So I think there's a loneliness epidemic going on in the world. I'll go out on a limb and I'll say for, like, in quotes, 21 and up, ID verified, opted in, someday we'll have dating on Roblox. And I think a lot of people who might be afraid to go on a real life date might find it easier to have a virtual date to start. And then if they connect, move to the physical world. So I think, in a wellness platform, I think of as a platform to help loneliness and help bring connection.
I will say, though, as a little offshoot to this Roblox dating story, the platform recently announced that it is introducing a way for users above the age of 13 to chat more freely with friends on the platform. So this will involve a age verification process, and to verify the ages of these users, Roblox will ask the user to, quote, take a video selfie which is analyzed against a large and diverse data set to estimate their age, and that was from the Roblox website. If they don't pass this test, though, and they are over 13, they will have to share their government-issued ID, and in the future they should be able to get parental permission according to the website. So it definitely seems that Roblox is putting in more structures to verify ages on the platform, perhaps so they can introduce these quote-unquote more adult functions in the future. But also I do think we are kind of just seeing a general trend towards age verification and human verification, partly because of AI, but here in Australia I also think it is because of the government-issued ban on under 16-year-olds for social media. Anyway, back to the dating of it all. This isn't actually the first time that David has referenced dating on Roblox. At the 2023 Roblox Developers Conference, David, in the keynote speech, said that thousands of adults will meet and form real-life relationships in dating experiences on the platform over the next 5 years. And I feel like there is a lot to unpack here. First of all, this is clearly an attempt by the platform to maintain its current user base in the longer term. I know we've talked about it before, but Roblox's user base is predominantly children. Out of the 82.9 million average daily active users, as reported in 2024, approximately 42% of players are under the age of 13. And like many tech companies, Roblox is constantly seeking to grow its user base. And to do this, they would need to introduce features that appeal to demographics beyond children, but also they would need to find a way, in theory, to stop their current user base from aging out of the platform. And dating seems to be part of that strategy for them. I think this is quite a bold move because there are already so many safety concerns about children on Roblox. So introducing dating into the mix, even with age verification, feels like quite a few steps above where Roblox is currently at when it comes to safety and security. On this podcast, we always talk about the struggles of adults and children's being quote unquote in the same room online, and this just seems like another example. But in this instance, it's obviously not just about conversation. On top of all this, I don't know how much online dating on Roblox would actually help fix anything to do with the loneliness epidemic. I mean, there is already so much conversation online about whether this quote unquote loneliness epidemic, especially when it comes to young men, is actually a thing, or I don't know, they just refuse to respect women. But that is definitely too much discourse to get into this episode. But no matter what you really think about that, and we take the loneliness epidemic as reality and a real issue to Gen Z, when it comes to trying to build connections and community, sure, I do think a virtual date may help lower the barrier for some people, but I don't know how much that would actually solve things because online dating apps have definitely been around for quite a while now, and Gen Z has virtually grown up with them. And its impact on the loneliness epidemic has been negative, according to some research, where being on these apps lead to feelings of loneliness. So to me, at the end of the day, it kind of just feels like this is a way for Roblox to court new users under the guise of doing something positive. But I don't know, I'm definitely pessimistic when it comes to such intentions. But I am definitely curious what you guys think and whether you would intentionally use Roblox as a way to date people or as a dating platform. My next story is quite a pivot, but we really do a little bit of everything here at Mini Tech Scroll. And that is that YouTube has reportedly removed thousands of channels that are seemingly linked to propaganda networks from around the world. On July 21st, Google's threat analysis group released a Q2 update detailing any actions that have been taken to limit, quote, coordinated influence operation campaigns. Before we get into what this group found, I thought it would be useful to describe what exactly it is that they do. So Google's Threat Analysis Group, or TAG, as it is known for short, quote, works to counter targeted and government-backed hacking against Google and the people who use our products. So this group essentially seeks to identify malicious actors or groups and identify any dangerous behavior that would impact internet users. This could range from disinformation campaigns to cybercrime to financial threats. So obviously this group is very important to general cyber safety online. I should also probably take a moment here to explain what a coordinated influence operation campaign even means. So there are different tools that can be used, but at the end of the day, these campaigns are essentially large-scale attempts to alter public opinion or push disinformation or an agenda to ultimately change behaviors and attitudes among the public. This is a technique that has historically been used by governments, but in more recent years, this has been embraced by non-state actors as well. Anyway, the update from TAG detailed actions taken and threats identified from April, May, and June of this year. Now, I obviously don't have time to read out everything that has been identified, but I will give you a brief synopsis. So TAG reportedly removed nearly 11,000 YouTube channels and other accounts over Q2. This included anything from YouTube channels, like I mentioned, to ad accounts and other tools across the Google suite that were sympathetic to causes pushed by various countries. And some of the countries on the list included Russia, China, Turkey, Iran, Azerbaijan, Israel, and more. According to reporting from CNBC, 7,700 YouTube channels were linked to China, while over 2,000 of the removed YouTube channels were linked to Russia. These campaigns aren't a new phenomenon by any means. A prime example of foreign-initiated campaigns of influence was the reported effort to interfere in the 2016 US presidential election by Russia, as I'm sure we have all heard of by this point. On top of this, TAG has been releasing updates about various threats and, quote, coordinated influence operation campaigns, that the group comes across. Q1 2025 was a similar story to the update that they just released, where the tag blog post from the time revealed that accounts and channels had been taken down across operations linked to places like Russia, China, Nigeria, Iran, Azerbaijan, Germany, Romania, and more. Some of these, of course, were more sinister than others. On top of this, some of these were not necessarily related to foreign intervention when it comes to influence, but domestic political campaigns pushing a certain agenda. Even though this is definitely something that has been going on for a while now, I wanted to talk about this story because while it is something that we may be aware of, I don't know if these campaigns are something that we actively think of when we are consuming content. If we take a moment to look at this from a more analytical perspective rather than the effects that these information campaigns can result in, I just find it very interesting how social media is being used as a soft power tool by both governments and non-state actors alike. I think this is especially impactful in our current era. Obviously, it is very chaotic in the world at the moment. There are wars going on, and the countries involved can use these influence campaigns to sway public favor, which is something the tag group has identified in various instances and they have listed in the update. And in my research for this episode, I even came across a journal article that characterized these coordinated influence campaigns and the actors within them as cyber troopers, which I think is very telling for how governments, non-state actors, companies are choosing to exercise their influence and where they are deciding to do so. With that being said, though, it is definitely clear that these campaigns are a way to curry favor among the public, and I think the rise of these campaigns also reveal how much power the platforms hold. I know we all know this, but at the end of the day, it is the groups like Tag and Google and other platforms and big tech companies that are the ones driving what gets taken down, while governments and civil society organizations also play a role alongside these platforms. The big tech companies are the ones that are taking charge, and I do think that this kind of decentralized approach can make things probably a little bit difficult when it comes to collaboration and even agreeing upon common definitions of what should be taken down and what constitutes as these influence campaigns. Unfortunately, I do think with the rise of AI, though, as well, that these coordinated influence campaigns will only become more common and harder to manage. I know it's a little bit different, and we've already touched on this a couple times in Mini Tech Scroll this year, but everything we've been seeing between the University of Zurich and Reddit, how these researchers used bots to infiltrate spaces and change minds, it's clear that these kind of tools can be powerful in these coordinated campaigns, and obviously AI might make these campaigns cheaper, more efficient, which is unfortunate for the state of the digital space, I will say. And while these accounts can be taken down, I couldn't find much information on whether this exists, but I do feel like there probably needs to be some kind of way to identify and reach out to the people that have been consuming this content, whether they sorted out or it had been served to them, and inform them that they had been consuming content from these influence campaigns. I don't know if this is realistic, but I think it is probably something that needs to happen. I think this is something that is especially important when it comes to being just served up certain content by the algorithm, because oftentimes we might come across one account and then never see it again. So I definitely think it's important for companies like Google to inform their users about these kind of developments. My last story for today is a little bit of a lighter one. It is once again a pivot, but TikTok is allowing songwriters to include songs that they've worked on their profile. I'm sure we've all noticed that when you go to a singer's profile on TikTok that they have a music toggle at the top of their profile where you can often see their most recently released song that is available on the platform. Now, songwriters will be able to have songs that they have written included in that list. Users who register as songwriters will also get a quote-unquote songwriter label underneath their account name. As Emma Roth writes for The Verge, quote, "These new features build upon some of TikTok's existing tools for songwriters, including the new tag that appears on newly released music and the ability for users to save a song on music streaming services." TikTok also rolled out a Behind the Song Hub in 2023 where songwriters, artists, and producers can share more about the making of their music. So this update is being rolled out to a specific group of quote unquote publisher partners, but songwriters can sign up for a waitlist to gain access to the feature down the line. I think this is a really good move by the platform. We've spoken about this on Infinite Scroll before, but TikTok has literally become a music discovery platform, and there are a number of reasons why this happened. First, I think we can credit to TikTok dances because the popularity of these dances coincided with the app's rise to success back in 2020. Second, the way that the For You page operates allows us to be constantly exposed to new artists, new songs all the time. So that has obviously helped us find new artists that we enjoy. This constant exposure has definitely cultivated a culture of kind of collective creation where remixing songs have become a major part of the culture and audio generation on the app, which I'm sure we are all experiencing at the moment with the Nothing Beats a Jet 2 holiday audio. That is living rent-free in my brain right now. So with TikTok operating as a music discovery platform of sorts, I really like the idea of songwriters being credited for their work in this way. I feel like this is also becoming more and more common across other streaming platforms, like on Spotify, for example. I know if you look at the credits of a song, you can see the songwriters, and sometimes you can click out and it takes you to a web page which shows the other songs that they have written. For me, though, I have never actually been a lyrics girl, which I kind of feel like is a red flag. But I have always just prioritized the vibes of a song, but I definitely appreciate this renewed focus on the behind the scenes work that is done when it comes to music production and songwriting. I feel like with Gen Z literally being raised by artists like Taylor Swift, it makes sense that it would be something that this demographic would care about and that their favorite social media platforms, streaming platforms would lean into. Okay, well, I guess that is everything from me today. Lauren will speak to you tomorrow and I will chat to you next week. Thanks for listening. Bye.